you. Good to go?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to call the meeting to order now at 7:01. First item on the agenda is the appointment of a clerk pro tempore, temporary, whatever. So I'll need a mover and a seconder to do this. Councillor Brooker, can you move this, please?
Yes, I can. Could I ask a quick question? This is just for this meeting?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yes, I will.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Castelline, can you second that?
Absolutely.
Thank you. So we have this resolution moved by Councillor Brooker, second by Councillor Castelline, that the Council of the Corporation of Municipality of Calvin hereby appoint Alicia Blake as clerk pro tempore for the purpose of this regular council meeting of March 8th, 2022. Any discussion? Councillor Brooker.
I'm in favor.
Okay. Councillor Castelline?
No, I have no discussion.
Okay. Thank you. Councillor Ross?
No discussion.
Councillor Shipham?
No discussion.
Okay, I'm going to call to a vote. Do you vote yes or no? Councillor Brooker?
Yes.
Councillor Castelline?
Yes.
Councillor Cross?
Yes.
And Councillor Shipham?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well, so this resolution is carried. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is, I always take attendance, so I'm going to take attendance. Councillor Brooker, you're present? Hello, Councillor Brooker?
Yes. Sorry, you froze for a second.
I was
What was
asking you if you were present.
I'm sorry. Yes, I'm.
Councillor Castelline? I see
Yes,
you
I
there.
am. Yes, I'm still here.
Councillor Cross, I see you there.
I'm here.
And Councillor Shipham, I see you there as well. Okay. Does anyone have any written disclosure of pecuniary conflict of interest? Councillor Brooker.
No, I don't.
Councillor Castelline.
No, I do not.
Councillor Cross.
Yes, I do. I sent in my form. I have a conflict of interest on the petitions and delegations because I'm a member of CWA.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Shipham?
No.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is petitions and delegations. So the first one we have this evening is Joanna Baxter of the Calvin's Women Association, and she's going to provide us some information this evening. You're on mute, Ms. Baxter. There
Sorry.
you go.
Good evening, Mayor and councillors. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak to you this evening on behalf of the CWA. I'd like to take a moment and introduce ourselves. We first formed 3 years ago with the intentions of doing good in and for the community. We are a group that mixes fun social events with fundraising. Currently, we have sold produce and plants for 2 growing seasons, as well as Christmas baskets that were both sold and donated to various community members. We have donated fire relief bins packed with essentials for the fire department to use as needed. We have also had a lot of fun making gnome Christmas tree ornaments and baking zucchini loaves that were distributed throughout the community to spread some Christmas cheer. We have also had paint nights, bonfires, and game nights. The CWA brought forth a request last year asking for permission to purchase a sea can to use as additional storage for the community center. We understand council has decided to put that project on hold and potentially look into other options. The CWA would like to rescind that request. We would now like to request permission to fundraise for a pavilion build on township grounds. Our vision is a concrete pad under the rink, a roof over top, and potentially new fully accessible bathrooms and change rooms. There could be potential for a lockable fire pits, water fountains, and maybe a concession stand. We understand the exact details of the finished product will be determined by current infrastructure and, of course, financial feasibility. We have included some photos of what we are thinking and hope to strive towards. We envision this being a project the whole community can be a part of that falls in line with the strategic plan put together by council. Perhaps an ad hoc committee could be formed with input from community members to help create a space that fits in line with our surroundings and the people that live here. Our hope is to create a space that will continue to bring the community together and be accessible to all. The potential benefits of this project are far-reaching. It could bring in revenue through rentals. It will allow the space to be used year-round and not just for ice skating. The roof will also help protect the rink and reduce the amount of upkeep and maintenance for the ice pad. The pavilion could be used for movie nights, a place to gather in a shaded area during hot summer days, outdoor music events, weddings, company team building, and a variety of other outdoor activities. We would like to call this project Calvin Working All Together Fundraiser. We understand this is a big multi-step project that will require additional community input and potential grant money from the government, but it is our request that council consider the huge benefit to the community this project would have and allow us to put money we have fundraised into a pavilion budget line. The CWA is committed to continue with our fundraising efforts and hopefully include raffles, community dinners, as well as the produce stand that has already done so well. We request that a resolution be brought forward at the next council meeting stating that we are granted permission to fundraise for this project, understanding final details, costs, and scope will not be immediately decided. We currently have a donated quilt that we would like to raffle off as soon as possible and are planning the vegetable gardens for the coming growing season. We would like to be able to tell our supporters exactly where their donations are going. We thank you so much for your time and consideration of this proposal.
Thank you very much. Got some nice pictures there. All right. Our next item on the agenda is another delegation from Mr. Jerry Knox. Mr. Knox, would you like to proceed?
Yes, thank you, Your Worship, and members of council for this opportunity to come before you. We have a residence at 262 McLaren Drive on Lake Talon, and what we'd like to talk to you about this evening is the short-term rental issue that seems to be cropping up on Lake Talon. Previously, I had sent two letters to both Calvin Council as well as Bonfield. And the reason for both is because our property is immediately abutting the Bonfield Township as well. So when we're talking of short-term rentals, what we're really talking about is residential properties or accommodations that are being rented on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. And often, and going through my presentation, these are advertised through companies such as Airbnb and VRBO, which many of you are very familiar with. The different, and what's happening is there's different occupants often with multiple users. I am quite aware, I've met an individual on Lake Talon last year, and they were proudly communicating that they were in a residence and had 22 occupants in that residence for a week. These short-term rentals are really catering to the tourists and vacationers. They seem, and I'm sure you're well aware, they seem to evolve from larger urban areas throughout the country and the world, becoming more popular and common in our rural and vacation areas of the province, and often influenced by real estate prices. People are buying and then finding that they need to find a source of revenue in order to maintain those, as well as there's TV shows that are promoting these kinds of investments and business opportunities. Often, and we see that they're unregulated. And now, if you look throughout the province in particular, many of municipalities are trying to find a way to control or prohibit or somehow come to get them under handle of some form. Finding that frequently they're owned by absentee owners from outside the community, often using individuals or property management companies to maintain and operate them. So the owners are not there to really see what's happening on the properties. From my perspective, I see that essentially these short-term rentals are really unregulated commercial businesses that are operating in the residential area. The reason I've got involved is from Lake Talon's perspective. There's numerous properties promoted as short-term rentals on Lake Talon. I know there's at least 2 in the Calvin Township. What really brought this to light was there's a situation on Talon in 2021 where new owners came in. They represented to neighbors that they were moving here, and then within a few weeks they became there were Airbnb announcements, and all sorts of different things transpired with multiple users and really a change of use of that property. And it's really created a conflict and a dispute between the neighbors. So I'm involved because of Bonfield and I know some of the people in Bonfield, and trying to also to protect our property in Lake Talon. There has been a good neighbor association that's been created. They call them Bonfield, but I think that should be expanded. And it's seeking to prohibit the use of such commercial uses in these residential areas. And as I mentioned previously, I previously sent 2 letters to both townships. The impact that we see is on the short-term rentals is their commercial businesses really operate in residential areas. The properties were originally not intended or designed for such use of multi-use people coming in, different people on a sometimes nightly and weekly basis predominantly, unregulated, and it's creating potential conflicts with the neighborhood. And in this situation we're seeing now, it's creating a definite conflict with the whole neighborhood on the lake. And a petition had been submitted to Bonfield, and there was over 120 participants on that. It can create I think the bylaw refers to obnoxious use, really when you're talking about noise, fire, those kinds of things. But that's something that's extremely difficult, I see, for the municipality to try and enforce, given the region that or the area that you have to look at. Arguably, the short-term rentals do provide tourist dollars to the community in the region. However, from observation, really, these people that are coming to use these facilities are bringing their own supplies. Yes, they will cater to some of the local areas for maybe some groceries and maybe some fuel, but overall, from a community perspective, really not making a significant contribution to the township. And the benefit is going to the benefit is the property owners and not the community. And some potential environmental impacts. Septic systems, they're not designed for having multiple use people. You know, I use the example of 22 that I'm familiar with, but we know that there's more than 2 or 4 people coming to those facilities. On the Calvin Township, when I look at the bylaw, I don't see that it's specifically defined or discussed in the bylaw. One could probably stretch an argument to seek a fit into operations within a bed and breakfast, maybe a motel or camp or a tourist establishment. But I think from looking at the bylaw, from my perspective, that would be a stretch in an argument. And I understand council has asked staff to address the short-term rentals in the zoning bylaw and to develop this policy. And that's really why I'm here to discuss that. And my suggestion and submission is that these are commercial recreation operations and really shouldn't be permitted in residential zones where there can be a conflict. So what I'm requesting of council, if I can, is that if we can recognize these as a commercial recreational use, limit these operations to zones that permit commercial recreational operations, require short rent, if they're allowed to require them to be registered and licensed. And in some municipalities, what they've actually done is actually tax them. I think they refer to it as a tourist tax or something like that. So the municipality gets something, and specifically prohibit short-term rentals in residential areas. And if someone really, it's not on the sheet, but if someone really wanted to create a short-term rental in a residential area, they could apply to the township for a rezoning if they really wanted to do that. Now, that's my real presentation. I know I don't have total agreement in my own family because my presentation could impact our property long-term, and I'm and Janet and I, my wife and I, are very comfortable with that because we've invested an awful lot in our property. We've built it from scratch, and we're just really trying to protect our property and our surrounding area. So thank you very much, council. And if there's any questions, I'd be pleased to answer if I can. Oh, I lost the.
And you're on mute.
Am I on mute?
No,
I do that all the time.
Okay,
If anyone had any questions for Mr. Knox.
yes, I do. Mr. Knox, I didn't look it up, but what is your current zoning? Is it rural residential, or residential?
No, it's not residential. It's what is it? I'm in one of those zones where there's no service kind of thing. SLR, isn't it? I have it here.
LSR, limited service.
Limited service. That's what it is. That's where I am. We're in the farthest, I guess it's the northwest corner of Calvin.
Because I know that in our new zoning bylaw, tourist establishments are not allowed in rural areas. And we can classify an Airbnb as a tourist operation.
But the argument would be are these short-term rentals really short tourist establishments?
Well, we can specify in our bylaw that an Airbnb is a tourist operation.
If I may, I think I got stuck on calling them Airbnb. That's a brand name.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So it's the short-term rental. So yeah, and that would be suitable. If you're going to allow them, I also suggest to tax them.
Well, yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, we are currently in the process of developing a new zoning bylaw, and they're not accepted yet. So if we are going to make any changes, we have to make it now because we cannot do it in the next 5 years.
Yes.
So we have to definitely look at this, absolutely, because situations as you described, that you have almost up to 20 people living in one home or house, the septic system absolutely would not accommodate that. And everybody around here is on septics. Everybody around here is on wells. So any pollution would just be devastation for anybody around us. So I thank you for bringing this forward, and I think we must look at this on a very short term.
If there's anything that council would need from me or my involvement, I would gladly participate.
Thank you.
We'll need to speak with our planner and see what his thoughts are on this, right?
Yes.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, next item on our agenda this evening is reports from municipal officers. And the first item is Dean Maxwell, our fire chief.
Okay. Can you
Yeah.
see me there or what?
Yes?
I can hear you.
All right, just always having technical difficulties. So for the month of February, it was a pretty quiet call month there, but we did receive one call for an MVC on Bronson Lake Road. That call actually turned into a medical call. It was paged out wrong. We had 5 guys that went to that scene. Was there approximately around 30 minutes or so, and then the OPP took that scene over and they released the fire department, and we were back in the fire hall. For the fire meetings on February 3rd, we reviewed the hose lay on our new engine. On February 10th, we did driver training, so we're pretty well just getting used to our new truck that we have, and reviewed on the new Firefighter 1 training that we will be doing this year. And I'll touch on that later. On February 17th, my family come down with COVID, so I was stuck in isolation. So I had Renee do the training for that night. He did review BAs and breathing techniques. And then on February 24th, we did, again, I was away for that one, so Jacob did the training on that night. We did forcible entry and tool training. For fleet status control, right now we have our rescue unit down with front end issues. We're working on getting that repaired right now, but it's taking some time. From a chief report, we had Wayne and Butch Graff come in and finish up on the radios. I want to thank them for finishing that. It's quite complicated because it is a real, like a city pumper. There was lots of wires and there were some adapters that had to be bought. So it took them a couple trips to actually get it done and working properly. So that was quite the job, and they did a good job on that. So I'm glad to get that all up and working. So the fire marshal's office has passed a new standard now. We've had this come up last year, but we were hoping they put it down and they brought it back to the table, and it looks like it's going through right now. So what they want is a provincial standard that all firefighters be trained to the same standard. So every firefighter is going to have to do a level 1 firefighter training. Right now, we kind of already got a head start because we had Renee, which is set up the training that we do, like training modules, and then we'll be able to sign our guys off, and then we'll be able to get our guys, most of them will get to be grandfathered in. So there's about 40 modules. Each module is about an hour and a half long. And then there's going to be, we got to sign them off on all those modules as well. So there's going to be a great time put into this, but it's something we're going to be forced to do. And we've already got started on it, and we've hoped to have all of our guys, most of our guys trained off on it till June 1st is what we're trying to get them done by. So to provide certain services, we'll have to be trained certain levels. So like for Auto X, we'll actually have to, some of us guys will have to be trained to level 2 firefighter, which involves more modules, more training. So we've got, this is all new, so it's unknown how it's going to unfold, but it's something that's not going to go away and we're going to have to deal with. We also have some training coming up for in April. We're doing our first aid training. So that's another 2 days for the guys this year. And we also putting on training for the staff. So we have the Calvin staff and the Papillon staff as well. And Renee's been taking care of all the training and he's doing a great job on that. So I got to commend him on that. That's hard to do sometimes, especially with the computer issues we have and getting the guys hooked up with our training and stuff. But with that all being said, that's pretty well lit for the month of February.
Anybody have any questions for Dean? No? Good report, Dean. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on agenda, we have Jacob Grode, our landfill and recreation manager. Hello, Jacob.
Hello, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So because I have the 2 papers attached to this report, I'd like to go through recreation first, then we can have a discussion about the rink maintenance policy, and then go through the landfill and we can have a discussion about the well monitoring report, if that's okay.
Yes.
Okay. So the rink has remained in good condition through this month. However, with the warm weather the last few days, the ice condition has deteriorated. Hopefully with the cold evenings, it will freeze up good again, and fingers crossed we'll be able to get the March break out of it this year. It was closed 1 day in February to allow the ice to freeze up as we had a warm spell and water had accumulated on the surface. And then again, Sunday and Monday, we had to close it because of the rain that we received over the weekend. It's back opened again now. One of the projects that I would like to do this year is repurposing the cistern room in the rink building. Once the cisterns are removed, I propose that we move the rec workshop into that area, creating storage for the materials that can't freeze, like the paint, the batteries, and various other products that we have. And then all the products that don't get affected by the cold would be left in the addition to the rink building. Once this is done, my hope is that we'll be able to reduce the heating costs in the rink building because there won't be as big of an area to heat. Because we'll have been able to take that area that the cistern tanks are and create some storage and a better heated workshop in that area. So what I'm suggesting is that council declare the cistern tanks surplus, and I would suggest that the tanks be offered to the roads department or fire department should they have a use for it first. If there's no use within the departments, then I would suggest we put them up for sale. And for the grant research, the Ontario Trillium Fund is offering they're calling it a capital grant for improving community buildings and spaces. From an initial look at this grant, it appears as though some of the plans that we've talked about with the rink building in the past may fit into this grant. The deadline is August 3rd for the proposal. So it'll give us time to build a good report on it. But there will still need to be some more research done in this project to ensure what exactly is allowed to be budgeted for with this grant. And as we're approaching the end of winter, I've attached the ice building and maintenance manual to this report. Have you guys had a chance to review it, and were there any concerns or changes that are suggested to be made within the manual?
Looked through it, I didn't see anything, but Counselor, we'll go with Counselor Brooker. Did you see anything in there?
No, I didn't see anything. I thought it was really well written, and I really like the how to repair holes and cracks. The uh-oh comment, it was pretty funny, but it was good.
Okay. Counselor Castleline?
Just a question to Jacob. How well has it worked? Did you have sufficient volunteers this winter?
We were fortunate this year that the co-op student that was working with the roads department came in over the Christmas break and looked after the rink for us. So it allowed me and Brandon to have a bit of time off to spend with our families during Christmas when we had the Christmas shutdown.
Okay, but this manual is specifically for volunteers. And my question was, how many volunteers did you have?
Volunteers, we had 2 volunteers for a couple weeks the winter of 2020-2021 that left before the new year, and those are the only volunteers that we've had since the creation of the manual.
Wow. Okay, thank you.
Counselor Shipham?
The only thing that I saw in here that could maybe be changed is in the maintaining a good ice surface. Smoking on the ice surface should be discouraged. Maybe change it to not permitted. And like, so, and can we maybe get like the boot scraper thing that takes mud off your shoes or whatever, or before you go on the curling rink, it kind of brushes off your boots before you go on the rink. Would that maybe help with keeping dirt and stuff off?
Yeah, that would probably help with keeping dirt and stuff off. What we try to do when the roads guys go by is they will sand the gravel roadway area, but not sand right up to the washrooms change room area. So that allows the sand to come off of people's boots as well. But a boot scraper is something we can look into.
But those are the only 2 things that I noticed. Otherwise, I thought it was fine. Oh, sorry. And on the back, where the rules and regulations, children should be supervised. Maybe change it to must or to be. Like, you don't be leaving your kids there by themselves. There's too many things that could happen on ice. But that was it. I'm done now.
Counselor Cross?
No, I didn't see any changes. I mean, we've read this twice or for the last 2 years. I think it works well. It'd be wonderful if we had more volunteers so they could read it too. But no, I didn't see any changes. Thank you.
I don't have any. I think Counselor Shipham's were good though. Those are basic, small changes, but
Yeah. So just to summarize it, then the smoking on the ice surface should be will change to will be discouraged or will be prohibited, and then for the children. Children must be supervised at all times instead of should. Does that wording sound acceptable?
Yeah, it should kind of leaves it open to, well, I don't really have to.
The age limit as well, maybe children under such and such an age must be accompanied by an adult.
That would work too.
$21. No? Sorry. So is the ice rink, like I know there's no smoking in the playground area, so So the ice rink is not considered part of that?
From my understanding of the rules, it is no smoking within 20 meters of any area where it's reasonably expected a child to be playing.
Huh? Okay. That kind of takes that
So
into
that would include the rink.
Yeah.
And I believe there are the signs around the rink posted to that. The health unit had provided us with them when the rules had changed a couple of years ago, and we put them up around the playground and the ball field as well.
Okay. So is there going to be any cost to move, like say into the cistern area? Like to make a workroom there?
I think what I would plan is to just move the existing workbenches in there.
Okay.
There is some styrofoam on the walls, so it may be a matter of getting a couple sheets of plywood or the chipboard to put on the wall around the workbench area. The tank removal should be fairly cheap. I don't foresee there being any cost. One of the thoughts with it too is possibly hooking that line up to the current well so that there could be water out at the shop, which would make a closer supply of water for any minor repairs to the rink or cleaning the washrooms. So we're not running, I think we run about 200 plus feet of hose to get out there to do the cleaning.
Wow.
We have two long lengths of hose we connect together. I'm estimating them at 100 foot apiece.
And then you're going to do some further research for the Trillium grant?
Yeah, I plan on doing some further research into that, seeing what all it would cover or what sort of projects it would cover. And then when I have a better understanding of what all is included in that, then I can make a presentation to council with some project ideas that would fit within it.
All right. Does anybody have any questions for Jacob regarding the rec side? Councilor Shipham?
So with the Trillium grant, would what the CWA was proposing with Joanna's presentation fit into that, sort of? Because it
is possible that it may be covered under there, because I believe it's either that one or another grant I was reading that was for creating new spaces or improving existing spaces.
Okay.
Because there is another grant that's coming up soon that I want to research into to see if it might possibly fit in to the rink thing. It may possibly help with the pavilion thing as well.
Okay.
Okay, that's really good. Anybody else, any questions for rec?
One more question to Jacob. Would a cover over the rink not be detrimental to the freezing of the water, because it is no longer exposed to the open air, and most of the cold is always not by conduction but by convection and by being exposed to a clear sky. So would a cover over it not be bad for the ice? I think that we should look at that, and if we are going for a pavilion, I think we should look at a different or at a separate location on municipal property instead of immediately thinking about the rink. I don't know if a covered rink would freeze as well as an uncovered rink. That's something that sticks in my mind somewhere. So just that idea, just want to throw it out there.
Yeah, that's something I could reach out to, I believe both Bonfield and Callender have covered rinks in our area. That
Okay.
I may be able to get in contact with some of their employees that deal with it and to give us an idea of how it affected their ice making. Did it improve it? Did it decrease it? Did it just stay the same?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else? Okay, Jacob. Want to move on?
Yeah, I was just making a quick note about the rink, sorry. So for the landfill, on February 17th, we had the mechanic out to look at the compactor because of the issues we've had with hard starts. He found an issue with the starter drawing too much amperage, and a new starter was ordered and installed on February 24th. We continued to have some issues with the fuel, so we had him out again to check it out. We were concerned that it was possibly backfeeding the fuel and losing its prime. Of course, when he came out to look at it, it started up good.
For sure.
So he, I guess, somehow made it lose the prime. I was up at the landfill. Brandon was there to help him today with that. And then it repeated, it behaved the same way it was when we were having the issues with the prime issues. So he did find a line that he was able to tighten up a bit. And he also recommended that we change both the fuel filters because it was such a warm day today. There may have been an issue with some moisture in the filters causing this problem. So I ordered some new filters for that today, and hopefully Saturday it's back up and running. So due to that issue, with the compactor not running, that is part of the reason why there's been so much garbage at the tipping edge, because people have had to go straight to the edge to dump the garbage that way. Fortunately, the roads crew have been able to help us out and keep it fairly clean up there for us. And then attached to the report, I put in the 2020-2021 well monitoring report. There's no significant changes from the previous report. And from the conclusions and analysis section, in the conclusions and recommendations section in the report, the only thing they recommended was closely monitoring well number 9 for the nitrate. And then, as you can see from the chart on the nitrate, we've actually been trending down. But because in the past we had a few spikes where it got fairly high, that's why the recommendation to continue monitoring it, closely monitoring it from, and it is something that we will continue to keep an eye on to ensure that it does stay within the safe levels. The recommendation, I believe, should it rise and continue to stay high, would then be to put another well near the property line behind that one, to make sure that the nitrate is contained to the property line of the landfill. Were there any questions about the well monitoring report or anything else within the landfill report?
Councillor Brooker?
No, I had nothing further.
Councillor Castleline?
Well, I looked through the report and I saw that it is extremely extensive and quite labor intensive. So that to me explains why it's such a high cost every 2 years to do the well monitoring. If I look at the amount of hours that is involved in the analysis and stuff like that, it's incredible. So yeah, that's most likely why it is so expensive, because I always wondered, well, why do we pay so much money for just looking at some water samples, but no, from this report, I can totally understand why it is so expensive. So that was just my remark.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Cross?
No, same as what Bart just said with how I didn't realize how much work it was. Also completely reminded me of science class, so don't want to have to see this too often. So, but no, thank you.
Councillor Shipham?
No, I have nothing.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, what would another well cost us, Jacob? Like 10K?
I am not sure of what that is. I would actually have to contact our well monitoring company. They deal with that quite often, would be able to give us a rough number.
I was just
But
wondering.
at this time, yeah, at
There's
this
no
time, I'm
need.
not worried.
Yeah, okay. All right, any other questions for Jacob? No? Okay, thanks very much, Jacob. Good job.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is a written report from Shane Conrad, our CBO. See, we've got one item on the list, but the permit hasn't been paid yet, so we're still kind of sitting at 0. But looks like a building value of over $50,000, so that's nothing to sneeze at. Solar array. All right. Next item on the agenda is reports from committees, and we don't have any of those this evening. Then after that, we have adopt the minutes of Thursday, February the 17th, 2022 special meeting. Do we have a resolution for that? I'll need a mover and a seconder for this one, please. Councillor Cross, can you move this one, please?
Yes, I can.
And Councillor Shipman, can you second it?
Yes, I can.
All right. So we have this resolution moved by Councillor Cross, seconded by Councillor Shipman, that the minutes of the regular city special meeting, right?
The regular meeting first.
Let me look. It says special in the, yeah.
Yeah, that's my mistake.
Yeah. Okay, that the minutes of the special meeting of council held on Thursday, February 17th, 2022 be hereby adopted and signed as circulated. So first of all, we need an approval to amend this resolution. Does anyone have any concern about changing the regular to special? Councillor Brooker?
No problem with it.
Councillor Castelline?
No problem.
Councillor Cross?
No, that's good.
Councillor Shipham?
No, that's good.
Okay, so I'm going to call for a vote, first of all, to change it, okay? Councillor Brooker, do you vote yes to allow
Yes.
the change? Councillor Castellane?
Yes. I do.
Yes.
Councillor Cross?
Yes.
And Councillor Shipham?
Yes.
I vote yes as well. Okay, so thank you. So there's that part of it. And then we have the meeting itself. Any discussion on the minutes? Councillor Brooker?
No discussion.
Councillor Castelline?
Nothing came to mind. No, thank you.
Councillor Cross?
No, it was good.
Councillor Shipham?
No discussion.
Okay, so I'm going to call for a vote to accept the minutes of the special meeting from February 17th. Councillor Brooker, do you vote yes or no to accept the minutes?
Yes.
Councillor Cross? No, Councillor Castleline?
Yes.
Councillor Cross?
Yes.
Councillor Shipley?
Yes.
I vote yes as well. So this resolution is carried. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is a resolution to declare 2 cistern tanks surplus. So I'm going to need a mover and a seconder for this as well. So Councillor Castleline, can you move this one, please?
Yes, I can.
And Councillor Shipman, can you second it?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. So we have this resolution moved by Councillor Castleline, seconded by Councillor Shipman, that the Council for the Municipality of Calvin authorized the installed of a drilled well in the community center, which was completed in October of 2019. The 2 cistern tanks have not been used since that time. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Council for the Corporation of Municipality of Calvin hereby declares the 2 cistern tanks surplus from the Recreation Department and that they be offered to the Roads or Fire Department. Should no department within the municipality have use for the 2 cistern tanks, then Council authorizes that the 2 cistern tanks be offered for sale by sealed bid. Any discussion on this? Councillor Brooker.
No discussion. I think it's a good idea.
Okay, Councillor Castleline,
No, it makes perfect sense.
Councillor Cross,
No discussion.
and Councillor Shipley.
No discussion.
Okay, so I'm going to call for a vote on to approve this resolution. Councillor Brooker, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Councillor Castleline,
Yes.
Councillor Cross,
Yes.
and Councillor Shipley.
Yes.
I vote yes as well. So this resolution is carried. Okay. Next item on the agenda is item C, and that's a resolution to direct staff to amend the fees and charges bylaw. So we should have a resolution for that. And I'm going to require a mover and seconder. Councillor Cross, can you move this one, please?
Yes.
And Councillor Brooker, can you second it, please?
Yes.
Right.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I was,
No problem.
I missed.
Okay, so we have this resolution moved by Councillor Brooker, moved by Councillor Cross, second by Councillor Brooker, that Council hereby requests staff to amend the fees and charges bylaw number 2020-023, and that staff shall bring forward a copy of the amended bylaw at the Tuesday, March 22nd, 2022 council meeting for discussion, and these changes shall be shall include the following: Schedule B, building inspection services; Schedule G, public works services; and Schedule 8, cemetery price list. Any discussion? Councillor Brooker.
No, I don't have any discussion on that.
Okay. Councillor Castleline?
Building inspection services, would that be separate from a building permit that includes some inspections?
That's what we talked about prior, yes. I'm thinking that's what it will be.
Okay.
Remember, we talked about including the final inspection in the building permit, so the owner didn't have to come back in the office and,
But that would be, that is the occupancy permit that we decided on. This specifically mentioned building inspection services, so I'm wondering if that would be a separate category. But we'll see what comes forward at the next meeting. Other than that, I have no further discussion.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Cross?
I have nothing to discuss until it's brought forward at the next meeting. Thank you.
Councillor Shipham?
Alicia, did you want to say something? So I saw you had your hand up, so.
Yeah, so we brought forward the building costs, which you guys have already approved. We were just doing this part so that way we can change it all at once instead of having 5 different amendments for one change.
Okay.
No discussion.
Okay, so we need to take a vote on approval to move ahead with this. Councillor Brooker, are you in favor of this resolution?
Yes.
Councillor Castelline?
Yes.
Councillor Cross?
Yes.
And Councillor Shipham?
Yes.
I am as well. Thank you. This resolution is carried. Okay, so next item on the agenda is item D, and it's bylaw number 2022-021. And it's a bylaw to appoint an interim deputy treasurer, okay, as we don't have one in the office, okay? The requirement for a deputy treasurer is for signing authority in the office. Things need to be approved and signed, and we need to have someone there who can do that. So I'll need a mover and a seconder for this, please. Okay, seeing how this is a bylaw, is there 3 readings on this? Can you go down, Alicia, please?
There's only one reading.
Only 1 reading? So this is a resolution and not a bylaw?
Yeah.
Usually our bylaws have 3 readings, right?
Peggy can answer that for you.
Okay.
If I might, Your Worship.
Young Lovelace, please.
Thank you. There are times when bylaws need 3 readings. Your procedure bylaw does not require 3 readings. And for experience in meetings, I suggest that there are some that only require you to read it once and pass it. If you do not wish to pass it, then we defer it to the next meeting.
Okay. All right, let's go from there. Now therefore be it resolved. I'll need a mover and a seconder, first of all. Okay, so Councillor Shipham, can you move this one, please?
Yes, I can.
And Councillor Castelline, can you second it, please?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. So we have this bylaw moved by Councillor Shipham, second by Councillor Castelline. Now therefore be it resolved that bylaw number 2022-021, being a bylaw to appoint an interim deputy treasurer, now therefore the Council of the Corporation of Municipality of Calvin directs as follows: that Alicia Blake is hereby appointed as interim deputy treasurer for the Corporation of the Municipality of Calvin, and that the powers and the duties of the deputy treasurer shall be those powers and duties of the treasurer as set out for the Municipal Act and every other act, and that this bylaw takes effect on the day of its final passing. Any discussion? Councillor Brooker.
I have no discussion other than, will Alicia have all kinds of support in this interim position? Okay, all right, good, thanks. So no discussion.
Okay. Alicia will have the support of V4M and myself as much as I can possibly provide. Good question, Councillor Brooker. Any further discussion, Councillor Castelline?
No, just what Councillor Brooker said, that Alicia, because of her level of experience, there will be mistakes, not her fault. And we have to make sure that that those situations do not come on her account. It's for her just as imposing as for anybody that is starting a new venture. And she does a fantastic job at the moment, but as I said, she is bound to run into situations that she cannot handle, and we must at all times support her. And that's my 2 cents worth.
Thank you. Councillor Cross.
I concur with the other 2 councillors. I think Alicia's been doing a wonderful job, and she will continue to do so. That's all.
Councillor Shipham.
No, I agree with everybody else. She's doing a great job, and she will continue to learn while she's doing this. And she is a very fast learner, so she'll only make the mistake once. It won't happen again. And yeah, she'll have lots of support from everybody.
Okay. So I'm going to call for a vote on this bylaw. Councillor Brooker, do you go yes to accept this or no?
Yes.
Yes. Councillor Castline, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Councillor Cross, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Councillor Shipton, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
I vote yes. So this bylaw is carried. Thank you, everyone. Congratulations, Alicia. Next item on the agenda is bylaw number 2022-022, and it's to appoint an interim deputy clerk. So I'll need a mover and a seconder for this one as well. So Councillor Cross, can you move this one, please?
Yes, I can.
And Councillor Brooker, can you second it, please?
You're on mute.
Sorry, you froze again, but I'm assuming it was me. Yes, I will second.
Okay. Am I freezing for everyone?
Nope.
Okay.
Just me.
Okay. So we have this resolution moved by Councillor Cross and seconded by Councillor Brooke. It's a bylaw. Seconded by Councillor Cross and seconded by Councillor Brooker. That bylaw 2022-022 being a bylaw to appoint an interim deputy clerk. Now, therefore, the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Caledon directs as follows. That Alicia Blake is hereby appointed as the interim deputy clerk for the Corporation of the Municipality of Caledon. That the powers and duties of the deputy clerk shall be those powers and duties of the clerk as set forth in the Municipal Act and every other act, and that this bylaw takes effect on the day of its final passing. Any discussion? Councillor Brooker.
No discussion.
Councillor Castelline.
No, just to clarify, this only lasts until the new clerk treasurer starts.
Yes.
Okay.
Councillor Cross.
I just wanted to mention that everybody has a hard time starting in a new position. And I ask that our residents be patient and kind and give everybody a bit of a break when they're learning a new position. So I would hope that they would have that type of respect. Also that we have E4M that is here that they said that they would be here with the support all the way through until our clerk does start. So with that being noted, I approve all of what's going forward with this.
Okay. Councillor Shipham.
No, I agree with everybody else and have nothing further.
Okay, so I'm gonna bring, this bylaw to a vote. Are you in favor of proceeding, Councillor Castelline? Yes or no?
Yes,
Councillor Brooker?
Yes.
Councillor Cross?
Yes.
And Councillor Shipham?
Yes.
I vote yes as well. So this bylaw is also carried. Congratulations again, Alicia. All right, so next thing on the agenda is information letters. Anything in those information letters that you'd like to discuss, Councillor Brooker?
you're mute.
I just noticed that there are very many that are talking about the OLT, and it sounds like something good that everyone's discussing it in different communities and municipalities. But no, I had nothing else.
Okay. Councillor Castelline?
And nothing of any value for me, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Cross?
No, nothing.
Councillor Shipham?
Nothing.
Okay. The only thing, I went on to the site there for the eliminating license plate renewal fees. I didn't know if I had to verify my address or not. And all it said on there was, if the address on your license is correct, then you don't have to do anything, right? So that's if anybody's listening, you don't have to worry about it, if their license is correct. Otherwise, you got to pay all your fines and all that sort of stuff, or they're going to come and get you. Okay, so next item on the agenda is information letters available, of which there are none. And after that is number 11. It's a closed portion of the meeting. So as for section 239(2)B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, excuse me, including a municipal or local board employee. 2D, labor relations or employee negotiations. 2E, litigation or potential litigation. And 2F, advice that is subject to solicitor-client privileges. For 1, municipal administrator position. 2, employee performance. 3, Stewart's Road. And 4, form of guarantee from Infrastructure Ontario for Castleton redevelopment project. So I'm going to need a resolution here. So I'll need a mover and a seconder. So Councillor Brooker, can you move this one, please?
Yes, I will.
And Councillor Shipham, can you second it?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So we have this resolution moved by Councillor Brooker and seconded by Councillor Shipham. Is there any discussion? Councillor Brooker?
No discussion.
Councillor Castelline?
No discussion.
Councillor Cross?
No discussion.
Councillor Shipham?
No discussion.
Okay, I'm going to call for a vote on this resolution, please. Are you in favor of moving forward with this resolution, Councillor Brooker?
Yes, I am.
Councillor Castelline?
Yes, I am.
Councillor Cross?
Yes.
And Councillor Shipham?
Yes.
And I am as well. So this resolution is carried, and we will proceed into a closed portion of the next meeting. So we'll need to turn off the streaming.
I'm gonna do that right now.